Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. So my name is Andriy Zhidko, and today I will be presenting you the Tridion Docs 15.2 bootcamp related to organized space. Today in the agenda we will have events, configuration part, and the user experience of that translation job with the business rules, configuration, user experience, separately translation. I will talk about the translation report, original date format, show optional field settings, preview, other as well as other user experience improvements in organized space, and all will also touch the community ideas that were shipped as part of this, as part of the organized space in context of Tridion Docs 15.2. So let's start with events. So as part of the revamping and enhancing events, we provided better performance and more user-friendly interface, also ensuring that the user experience across organized space remains the same. We converted the legacy ASP.NET technology, and they currently using more modern front-end React framework. We also made the configuration of the product more cloud friendly, because previously the configuration for the events was stored on the file system on the in the file XML file. Now it is stored in the you can update it in organized space via the XML settings separate entry, and we also enabled a regular user, so user that doesn't have user that doesn't have admin role or event monitor privilege role, then they will be able to see the events that they did create. So let's start with the configuration. This is the way how it was looking in previous versions. This is a legacy MVC page. So the configuration, that is the groups that were displayed to the user on the left side of that page, they were defined as a, as I said, file on the file system as a XML file. And now we did migrate that, and using we did introduce a new XML setting entry called events that I will demo you later during the demo part. So this entry can be edited only by administrators. Event group ID label and description, they are mandatory. You have optional user role filter and event type filter. So user role, in the user role filter you can define user roles that are allowed to see this group in the UI, and the event type filter describes a list of handlers that are used for background tags that creates the events. There is so if you can also extend this configuration and define your custom event groups, and if you can also, you need to use a dialog strings XML file to provide string resources, and you also can translate them, and then your custom node also will be translated to other languages. This configuration can be retrieved using the OpenAPI public endpoint. This is a default configuration, how you will see it when you are either upgrading to Tridion Docs 15.2 or doing a new fresh installation. So this configuration will be available for you, and you can use it out of the box, or as I said, you can extend it. So let's start with a user experience. So when you landed on the events view, you need to select the you specify the filters first. You need to specify first the group, of course. You can leave these filters untouched. Then you click the show events button that will load you the list of events first. Once you are clicking on the event, then you will see the loaded list of event actions. And when you're double clicking on the event action, then you will see the event detail, event action detail page. As I mentioned, we now give a possibility for the regular users, so the user that doesn't have administrative privilege or events monitor privilege, possibility to see the events view. Previously, it was possible only by navigating the notifications that appear in different cases when user triggers the action. For example, if he performs a publish for the output, then he or she was able to navigate to the list of event actions and see that. But if the URL was not stored somewhere, it was not possible to see that information again. Now he or she is able to navigate and see all the events that was created by that user. There are filters available. You can filter by the person who did create the event, so yourself or anyone else. You can use the statuses filter options. You can use date modified filter options, and here, of course, you can filter events by the group, either specific groups that is defined or use the all events group. Filters are preserved when they are stored as part of the browser session. So when you are navigating across tabs, across repository, expanding or collapsing the filter options, your filters will be memorized, and once you navigate back to the events view, you will see the same values that you are using before you left it. So once you are loading the when you landed on the events view, by default we do not show the list of events. This is done to avoid extra loading, extra load on the content manager server, because yeah, for example, for all events, amount of events might be quite high. So user first need to select an event group he or she wants to view, and then we will display that information and events will be loaded. This list, so list of events and list of events action, they are extendable. So you can modify the list definition metadata configuration file and add extra custom metadata fields that from your point of view is important for your deployment. Also, there is an option to see show verbose. You can also extend the option to and add more fields when you are switching the events details view to show verbose mode, so you can add more fields there. You can use fast search filtering for both events and event actions. You can type, for example, a username or specific information details or a GUID of the item, and then information will be will be filtered And as I said, like it is possible in both events and event actions. You can delete an event from events view, both single select and bulk and multiple select is supported. You don't need a specific privilege for that, but as I said, users without system administrative privilege or event monitor privilege, they see only events that they are created by themselves. So it means that they won't be able to delete events that are created by others. There is a download button for the content from event actions. If the event action data size is bigger than 0, then you will see this download button. And if it is there is no content for the action, then the button will not be available, so you cannot download it. Yes, and as I mentioned, there is already a show verbose button that allows you to see more information about the event actions. It adds more fields, metadata fields, and you can specify extra metadata fields in the metadata configuration file if you need. Yeah, when you are navigating to the details view, so once you are double clicking on the action detail, you'll open your separate page displaying more information about this action detail. Yeah, there we are trying to display. So as you can see, you have different data types for the action details. So in the list, we are trying to display them in the prettified format. So on the next slide, I will just explain you the way how we do it for different data type. So we, for XML, log4object and status report, we do it with read-only prettified XML. For the all other remaining, like send event data, DTOT log file, we are displaying it as a simple text. Even like send event data is in most cases it is XML, but we upfront don't know what type of the content will be as part will be included into the action details. So that's why we are displaying it as a simple text. If it's other data type, then the content is not displayed, and there is a download button within a message that explains you that you can download that information and view if you need. So as I already said, this if the event data size is bigger than 0, then you will see download button from the list. If you're navigating to the action details page and your data size of the content exceeds 1 megabyte, we will not display that content. So you will see the fallback download content button, and you can use it to download the details of the action. Deep linking to this view is supported. And the user, of course, can use a back button to navigate back to the list of events. So let's talk about the different ways you can navigate to event actions, except the direct navigation by clicking on the events tab. So as part of the different actions, the toast messages are shown, and by clicking on the toast message, there is a separate button, view event action. So by clicking on that button, you will be navigating directly to the list of event actions of that event. So there are different actions that are triggering these toast messages, like generating target languages, export objects to file share, release translations, or publishing publication output. So as I said, once you're clicking on that, you will be navigated to the list of event actions for that event. Yeah, I'll mention already that what will happen if you will click and navigate. This is the view that you will see. You can see this view is presented only in the case when you are navigating by the toast message. So in all other cases, we are displaying events actions as part of the separated view with the bottom part with a list of events and the with the upper part with the list of events and the bottom part with the list of event actions. Yeah, you can navigate back from this view using this button, and then this event will be selected in the list of events, and the quick navigation, as I mentioned, is supported to this view. Yeah, let's quickly mention the quick navigation link options that you can use. So you can use quick links for navigating to a group of events, selected group, the selected event in the list, action details page, event action only page. You might receive an exception in case the provided URL is not correct. For example, event was removed, then by default we will show you, we'll fall back to the all events in this case, and you will see a toast message explaining why the event was, why the link was not navigated properly. Let's do the demo. Warm up everything on the server. So yeah, as I said, so there's events tab in the ribbon toolbar. By default, as I said, we do not show you, and we do not show you the list of events. You first need to select a group of events. So let's, for example, select all events. Then once you click show events, the list of events will be shown for you. By clicking on the event, you will see a list of event actions that is corresponding event actions for this event. You can use filters started by myself and see the events that was started by you for today. I also can use the date modified filter, find event that was finalized with a warning message, and of course, like navigate through the filter events by using the different group of events. Let's also switch to the user that doesn't have administrator privilege or event monitor privilege. So I'll show you the view for that user. Again, list of events is not automatically loaded. As you can see, the started by is disabled, so user can see only events that were created by him or her, so by himself or herself. You can click on the all events and see the events that was created by this user. I didn't create anything today. Yeah, we can see what was done by this user during the last 7 days. So let me show you the settings, and you will understand how you can limit users, how you can limit groups and show them only to appropriate user roles. So in XML settings area, there is a new entry called events. As I mentioned, label, description, and event group, they are mandatory to specify, while user role filter and event type, they are optional. As I mentioned, you can define your custom group, and then you can specify your labels as part of the separate file, and then specify translations, and your group will be nicely displayed in different languages here. So as you can see, for all the groups that we have, except the all events, I will show you a bit later, we have a user role filter defined and as administrator. So it can be modified, of course, and for all events, the user role filter is not specified, so it means that users, all users will be able to see this group, but additionally, in the UI, as I showed you, we also disabling possibility to select for such a user that doesn't have administrative privilege or event monitor privilege to be able to switch from myself to anyone. So let's go back to this one. So let me show you the filtering capabilities that we do have. So I showed you already the panel filters options that we have. Let's also take a look for filtering capabilities in context of the list. So you can type, you can use ID of the item to find out the problematic entries or specific term on any other information that is important for you, that is relevant for the event that you're trying to find. You also can use filtering using the column filters and filter, for example, by a user who did create an event, event ID, description or status that you also can use from this, and filters from the panel and from inside the list are working together. You also can use sorting. For example, yeah, we can sort by user ID column, descending or ascending. So this also can be useful. Once, as it lets you're clicking on the event, you can see a list of event actions. Here you also can use filters, type, possibility to type a value, and the filtering will be applied. You can also use filters by column and a possibility to sort the list by a column, descending or ascending. You can use show both and see more information about the event actions. As I mentioned, this option can be extended, and you can include even more custom fields if you if this is important for your deployment. Yeah, as I mentioned, also you can download the content of the event action if its data size is bigger than 0. So in this case, it's is 0. I don't see a download button, but for this case, I can download this one and then later read it and find whatever information is important for me. What else? Yeah, also, yes, as I mentioned, you can delete an event. So you can delete a single event, or you can delete multiple events. One of them failed. Okay, so because yeah, probably yeah, because it is used by another event, so I cannot delete it. So you see that you provided with information if in case something cannot be deleted, why you cannot delete it. But let's delete at least two to just verify that it's possible to delete multiple events in one go. Also, let's take a look on the way how we display different information when we are navigating to the event action details page. So yes, there's this data type is sent event data. So let's navigate to it. So as you can see, we are displaying it as a text. If it's an XML, then we will display it and beautify it as an XML. If it's data OT, if I'm not mistaken, there should be one data OT log file. It will display it also as a text, so you can see it from this view. Yeah, let's also mention and take a look on the alternative navigation that I did mention previously in my presentation. So let's navigate to some navigation. This one, and publish it. So you can see the host message appeared, and if I will click on that, then we'll navigate you to the event actions. It's you can reload and see the actions and that event is processing. So some information is shown. You also, of course, can navigate directly to the action detail page from this view, and you can navigate back. Once you click back, then we will navigate you to the list of events and pre-selecting this event. Let's also take a look on the quick navigation field options that I mentioned. So, for example, if I will select this event, copy the link, as you can see, like it is pre-selected, and all the filters options are also specified as they were when I copied the link. You can also use a quick navigation link from this view. Yes, so you can see it is opened, so customers can share this information when they need to share some details about the event that is processing or something has failed. So let's continue with translation job feature. So main priority is to get rid of legacy ASP.NET code base and move to more modern technology framework, React, that gives better performance for the application. As well, we are taking care about the user-friendly and consistent user experience behavior across organized space. We also did take into account requests from community ideas as well as from professional services that turned into nice improvements like ability to select object types for translation, component list of translation jobs, and statistics view, also possibility to update workflow status as part of the for the translated object as part of the translation job. So we will start with the business rules. Some of them you are aware, some of them are new or changed. So let me walk you through the list. And first we will start with the business rules that do affect the both public APIs, so SOAP API and WCF. So as part of the revamping translation job feature, we did introduce a new field, fish translation job item types, that allows you to specify type of the object that will be allowed to add to translation job as a source object. That can be a map, topic, library, image, or other. So if you specify the source object, specify the object that filters the source object, then the source object of that specified type can be added to the translation job. So you cannot, for example, if you didn't specify library topic as the one that can be added as a source object to your translation job, then library topic cannot be added to as a source object to your translation job as part of your create request of the API. So previously there was a behavior that if image type, if resolution for the image is not provided, then all resolutions are provided. So all resolutions are specified. This is not the case anymore. When you're specifying an image as an object type, you need to pass the resolution as part of that. And to be able to handle legacy cases where this field didn't exist, if this field is not specified, then we are setting this field to all types, and this also means that image resolution should be provided as part of that request. And yeah, as I mentioned, this is a business layer changes, so it means that both APIs are affected, so SOAP and Open API. There are also other changes on the business layer, and previously a lot of this validation rules were done on in the ASP.NET code for the translation job, so basically in the UI. And we moved this validation to the business layer, and both public APIs will benefit from it. So I'll mention them. So the selected language or flow combination, we are validating that that selected language flow combination should be available in the template. For the fish translation job type field, if you did set the field, we are validating that it matches the selected template. If you didn't specify that field, then we will set it automatically. For the fish translation job alias field, if you did set the field, we will validate it that it matches the selected template. If you didn't provide the field as part of your request, then the field will be set automatically. Fish translation job source language field should be aligned with the source language on the translation template. And again, both APIs are affected because it's a business layer changes. So we did also remove some legacy parameters. So read access and write access for individual translation jobs, they were removed because they were not used before. But for backward compatibility, to not break existing API 2.5 calls, we do accept these parameters, but we do not pass them to the business method. There are also different set of business rules that some of them didn't change, some of them are new. So let's quickly take a look on them. So for the create and update action, so translation job can be created or updated by user with either administrative privilege or translation management privilege, and translation job can be updated only in definition state. Source objects can be added or removed from the translation job only in definition state. Translation job regarding that sent to translation action, translation job can be sent to translation only in definition state. You cannot send to translation job translation without source objects that are added to translation job, and the required date for translation job should be in the future. Sorry about the images. So retry action. For retry action, only administrator or a user with translation management privilege can retry a translation job. The retry action is applicable for translation job in the failed states, and there is a list of states that you can see on the screen. Cancel action also requires administrative privilege and translation management privilege, either one of them. And you cannot cancel translation job for a released states. So that is cancelled, completed with warning, export completed, and export completed with warning. So you cannot cancel translation job from that states. Regarding the delete action, there is one change comparing to the previous version. What didn't change is that translation job can be deleted by user with administrative privilege or translation management privilege, but when it's in final state, like for example succeeded. But what we have added a possibility for the user with translation management privilege. Now this user with translation management privilege will be able to delete translation job in definition state. This is a request that is coming from community, and previously people were asking administrators to remove the translation jobs that are not relevant, for example, anymore. Now they will be able to do it themselves. For all other states except mentioned succeeded or failed and definition, only administrator can remove such translation job. So this remains the same, like for example busy one. There is a new translation job XML setting that allows you to, so the purpose for that is to improve user experience around managing translated content. Of course, it is used in organized space. It has three main purposes or three main areas that allows you that you can configure. So it's a status list that is used in the statistics tab of a translation job. So during the demo, I will in details will explain you more. There is a possible status transition for each item type that is used on the translation items subtab of a translation job and allows you to review your translation items, so target languages, and pass them through the workflow, translation workflow. Previously, customers were using the inboxes for that, and there is also a language groups that where you can define a language group, for example, a European or Asian, so that will simplify the selection of language workflow combination when we are creating or updating the translation job. Only user with administrator or translation management privilege can update that setting. So this is the default translation job XML settings. As you can see, it is commented out. The reason for that, because translation workflow that customers have and the language groups that they might need, it differs from customer to customer, depends on their needs, and we try to come up with something meaningful that can be used as a starting point for them. But they can uncomment this default configuration and specify the values that they want and they need to use. But it doesn't matter if you are upgrading or doing a new installation, this default job configuration file will be there for you, and you can use it as starting point, as I said. So let's move to the user experience of the translation job. So when you're landing on the translation job view, there is a separate tab in the ribbon toolbar. There is a separate sub-tab. So you can click on the Add New Translation Job button, and as a result of that, you'll see a 4-step wizard that will walk you through the list of things you need to do to create your translation job. So on the first step, you'll see a list of fields that you need to specify. This step has 2 forms underneath. So the first form, so this one, it has the fields that will be stored on the translation job item. You can extend this list and add more custom fields if you want. There is a separate form limited configuration file that can be used for that. There is on the bottom for this form, these fields are used on the target languages. They'll be copied to that as part of the translation process. You also can extend that list and specify more custom metadata fields for that, and there is a separate form for that that you can use in the metadata configuration file. Second step is hard-coded, so you cannot extend that. In that step, you need to specify a set of objects that will be allowed to add as a source object to the translation job. This is what I did explain as part of the business part. Yeah, you don't see publication here, but you can specify. You can add as a source object the list of object types that will be selected on this step plus publication. And as I already mentioned, there is a difference between how behavior was in previous implementation, where if you didn't specify a resolution, then all resolutions are selected. Now, if you did specify the image as an object type, you will need to specify a resolution. And there is also an option to include items that already sent as part of the another translation job. So you can use this option. There are some cases where it can be useful. For example, if you have an object, for example, topic that is shared across different publications, and you already sent it as part of the one publication, but translations are expected much later than the day when you need to finalize and deliver your application. So you can use this option to translate and include that topic also as part of your publication, because by default we are skipping topics that are already are in translation as part of another translation job. So for the third step, it is also hard-coded. There are three mandatory fields: source language, translation template, and language workflow combinations. You will see a default message when you are landing on this wizard step that you need to specify first the source language, then as a result of that you will be able to select the translation template, and then specify a language workflow combination. So regarding the languages, when you're selecting a source language, then you will see a specific set of available translation templates. You might have a situation when you specify a source language and there is no available translation template, then the list will be empty. If you're changing the source language, then all fields will be cleaned up and you will need to specify a new values. If you're navigating back and forth through the wizard, the values are preserved and you don't need to specify them again. And if any of the mandatory field left empty, then you will see a validation message for that. You can have a flat list of languages if you didn't specify a language group. So you by default will show you a flat list of languages, and it doesn't matter if you're having a flat list or you did specify language groups. You by default always will have on top a possibility to specify a specific. You specify the workflow for all languages. So set one. It runs for all languages. If you set the workflow for a specific language, you can use undo button in case you want to change and switch the language to a specific one that was there before. And another case, the behavior is the same. It's just like there is a you can specify, as I already mentioned, you can specify language groups, for example, European or Asian, that will simplify your selection. So in this case, if you did specify a language group additionally to the possibility to select a workflow for all the languages, you can set the workflow for a language group. If you have an option to undo that in case you changed your mind. If some of the languages didn't land or you didn't configure them to land in a specific language groups, and they will be grouped at the bottom under the non-group. And you might have a situation that your language will, this is the way how you can configure the language group. So your language might be a part of two or more language groups. Then if you will set the workflow for that language in one group, it will be automatically set in another as well. And the last step is a confirmation step. It's read-only fields that you can validate and check if everything that you specified correctly according to your plans. You can navigate back and change the values in previous steps if you need, and you can save, click on the save button to create a translation job. So let's also talk about the prepare translation job feature. So as previously we did talk, it's the way how we were creating translation job. It's through the list of translation job, but you also can do it using the repository. So from the list of content items. So user with administrator or translation management privilege can add items to either existing translation jobs that are in definition state, of course, or create a new translation job. So there are two options that are available for you. You can use this option for content objects and publications. It does support single and multiple selection. Items without version cannot be added, and if selection contains not eligible items, then only eligible items will be processed. For example, if you specify that you are not allowing to add a library topic as a source item to translation job and did select as part of your selection and library topic, then all items that are allowed will be processed while a library topic will be skipped, and you will see notification about it. Yeah, as I mentioned already, when you are clicking on the option prepare translation job, you have two options: either add to existing translation job in the definition state, of course, or create a new translation job. If you are choosing the option to add selected items to a user in definition state, once you're clicking that done button, then it will be added. If you're choosing option to create a new translation job, then you then the wizard will be opened, and it will walk you through the list of configuration settings that you need to specify. It is also important to mention that in case you don't have translation jobs in the definition state, so you don't have any of them in your system, then we will automatically start a create a translation job wizard for you. There are some differences comparing to the wizard that is used when you are creating translation job from the translation job view. When you are using this add items to job option at the so on the fourth step, you will have option either to save translation job or save and send for translation. And the another difference is also that you see the source items that you did add to translation job, so they will be displayed on this step, and you can see and validate them. Yeah, there might be different situations that can happen when you're adding source items to translation job. It might be a successful message. There might be some exceptions or warnings. There also might be a confirmation message. So UI will walk you through that and provide you feedback, so you can get the information about what is going okay or what is going wrong with it. This is a summary of what I did explain to you, so it will be here for reference, and you could take a look on that. Let's talk about the translation job properties and the editing process. So once you did create a translation job, you also have possibility to edit the translation job. And as I mentioned previously, you can edit the translation job only in definition state, but you can view the translation job not in definition state through the panels in the insights area. So there are 3 panels: general properties, object types, and language properties. They correspond to steps 1, 2, and 3 of the translation job wizard, respectively. As I mentioned, you can use them to edit the translation job when it is in definition state. You need to save your changes as part of each panel. So if you did change the general properties, you need to save it as part of that panel. If you did change something for object types properties, you need to save it as part of that panel. This panel has a custom, so it has an extension point, so it's been used by customers to extend it and extra information if they need. Yeah, again, I did already mention about that. The language groups. Language groups are also available, and you can edit them in the translation job properties. So when you're editing translation jobs through the property panel, your language groups also will be available there, and you can use the same behavior as in the wizard. When the translation job is not in the definition state, then we will display the languages in read-only view. Yeah, there might be cases when a workflow is missing. So there is behavior, there is synchronization behavior when translation builder does synchronize templates from translation organizer does synchronize templates from the external translation management system to be able to handle this case. In UI, we do cache the template workflow group settings. So it might be the case when you did specify some language workflow combination as part of the template, and since the language workflow are defined on the external translation management system, once they are synchronized, some changes might be as a result of that, so the configuration might change. So in such case, you will have an indication that something is invalid, and you will need to specify another workflow for such languages. Yeah, as I mentioned already about the synchronization process, that might be also a situation when as part of the synchronization process, template was removed, and then in this case you will see a notification, a message indicating that, and then you will need to specify another template for your case. Required date. So I did mention as part of the business presentation of translation jobs that there is a business rule that the required date should be in the future. So we do validate it as part of the business layer, but additionally in the UI, all the dates before today are disabled. So to avoid a situation when user will specify date from the past. There is also improvement regarding displaying a default workflow for the template. So the top part. It was confusing previously, and it was also a confusing behavior about which some people might know, some not. Previously, we were selecting the first workflow from the list as a default one. Now we did improve the business logic on the translation organizer side, and we do specify and we do return the default workflow per a template in case it is defined by the translation management system. So for different translation management system, the behavior and the label of that default workflow is different. So for Altseural, you will see the name of the workflow and that then in the brackets translation system default. For TMS, you see translation system default. For Trados as well. For file export, it's just default. So it should simplify selection for the user, for the translation workflow. Let's talk about translation job list as well. So yeah, there is a filtering option that you can use. There is a progress bar for your translation jobs. We also showing a warning icon in case there are translation jobs in definition state where the required date is expired. Yeah, of course, you can use a filtering option. We will see more during the demo part. So filter options, there is a fuzzy search. As I mentioned, there is a sorting possibility. There is a progress column. It is empty in the definition state and displaying calculation during the expansion process. And you will see the progress bar when the translation job is in translation. You can use a quick navigation link when you did specify some filtering options or did select a specific translation job. As I mentioned, warning icon is displayed in case a translation job is expired, and in case there are no translation jobs, you will see an empty placeholder mentioning that. We also, comparing to previous implementation of translation job, we added a target languages field. So previously, customers were passing this information as part of the translation job item as translation job title. So we are creating translation job and naming, having naming convention to specify target languages as part of the name for that. Now there is a separate field for that should simplify usage of the feature. So a bit of more business details, business logic details around this field. So for newly created translation job field, it will be populated automatically based on the chosen workflow language. For existing translation jobs, so that ones that will be migrated as part of the upgrade procedure, the base upgrade tool will execute a script and will use the script will fill in this field with languages of the workflow, and in case languages label do not they do not match existing labels, for example, you rename the language or that something that we do not recommend to do, but in case such situation will happen, we will skip filling the field for such translation jobs. Translation job has 2 extension points, so you can add a custom action button for the list view, and as I mentioned previously already, you can have a custom side panel for the translation job. So as part of the Tridion Docs 15.2 release, we will also release a new extension documentation package that will be available on the npm.js under Tridion Docs. You can see the overview table of releases of extension documentations that they are and to which versions they are corresponding and matching to which Tridion Docs versions they do match, and for which versions they are supported. So let's talk about the translation job actions. Let's first talk about the start translation action for translation job. As I mentioned previously during the business part, you can start translation only in definition state. You can use both single and batch operation for that. And in case you did select items that are not allowed, so not eligible to start the translation, then you will see a confirmation dialog that you want to proceed, and then the only eligible translation job will start the translation process. There is also event action button. So you will not see that event button when translation job in the definition state, because there is no event still, is not event triggered for the translation job. But as soon as you will start the translation, then this event button will be available in the action button bar. It is available only for single selection only, so and it will open you the event action view, and yeah, show you the list of event actions for that event that was created as part of the translation process. There is a specific logic around how by using by under which user we are starting the translation job. So we are using a service user when we are starting the translation job. This is done due to the fact that regular user might not have enough permissions to read all the items that are part of the publication. As a result, there will be failures, and he or she will not be able to access objects. For this, we are running the background task that is doing that, performing the translation for translation job under the service user. So In case you are using a non-administrator user, it means that this user will not be able to see from the events action view, of course. He or she will not be able to see this event because he won't be able to filter that event because they're running under service user. But he or she can always navigate to the events by clicking on this button, or as another option, you can grant user with translation management privilege, additionally event monitor privilege, and then this user will be able to see all required events. Retry button is available in certain statuses that I did mention before during the business part. Both single and batch operations are supported. In case you're selecting something that is not eligible, then a confirmation from user is required. And yeah, you need administrator and translation management privilege to be able to use the retry action. For cancel, again, support single and bulk operations. You cannot cancel translation job, as I mentioned before, in the released states, that is cancelled, completed with warnings, export completed, and export completed with warnings. So you cannot do that. And the last but not least, the delete translation job action, again, is available for user with administrative privilege, and this user can delete translation job with in any status, and user with translation management privilege is available to delete it in the certain statuses, that is released statuses like export completed with warning, completed with warnings, and cancelled. And additionally, as I mentioned, now user with translation management privilege will be able also delete translation job in the definition status. Both single and batch operations are supported. Let's also talk about the translation job details view. So once you are clicking on the translation job, so you land on the translation job details view, you'll see the data of the translation job. As by default, we will show you source items subtab and the list of source items if they are available. If they were added to translation job, you'll see a statistics subtab and translation items. You'll see more during the presentation, and URL to this view can be used as quick navigation link. Let's talk about the possibility to add source items. It is possible to add source items to translation job only when translation job is in the definition state. So it is possible to update that. If you did specify all object types as allowed, and you'll be able to select all of them plus publication. If you did limit and exclude specific object types, and this object type will not be allowed to select, and you can also see that in the dialog here. That will help you to select the appropriate items. There might be a situation in the source item list when objects that you added as a source item it was deleted, or the version was deleted, then we are displaying a warning message, and so you can see this information. You also can extend this view and add custom metadata fields that is important for you, so that you think that it is important for your deployment, so that they can be added to the data configuration file to the list definition that is mentioned here. You can remove source items. It is possible again only definition state. You can use single remove or do it in bulk. Let's cover also another subtab of the translation job, so translation items. So show all languages. So by default, when we are landing on this view, we will not show you the list of language objects. It is done to avoid extra load on the server. So you have two extra filtering options to filter by an object type or the language. So you need to specify them to be able to proceed, or you can also click the button immediately, and then the entire list of source object target objects will be displayed. It's also valid to mention that language objects that user is not allowed to read or were deleted will have minimal information like GUID version, target language resolution, status. Status unknown. So we will display them with a warning message. And for these objects, you will not be able to change the status or export them. One of the great improvements of the translation job is also possibility to select do a transfer to a specific status as part of this view that I will demo you during the demo part. So you'll be able to select required target languages, and using the status drop down, you can specify the status and then move this target languages to that status. So this list of statuses that can be used, it is specified as part of the translation job configuration. So there are two entries for that, where you can specify allowed status transitions, and then you have a list of object types where you can assign allowed status transition. So more I will show you during the demo, so you will see how it can be used, how it can be configured. Yeah, as I mentioned, you can specify, you can select a set of object types, and then you can use this drop down to see the superset of statuses configured for selected object types. And once you selected the status to which you want to transition this language objects, and you'll see in case some of the items are not allowed to be moved to this status, then you will see confirmation dialog. And then as a result of that action, you will see a successful message or a message explaining which items were transitioned, and the ones that are not allowed to be transitioned, they will be skipped. And we also do not refresh this view automatically. This is what I explained before. We are trying to avoid extra load on the server, so user will need to click refresh button to be able to see the results and statuses were updated. This is a summary of what I did explain. So it's here for reference and you can use it. Let's also cover the statistics subtab of the translation job. So the statistics on object types. So the object types are grouped by the language, grouped by the target language, and configured. So you can configure statuses, and configure statuses you can define as part of the XML settings area that I did mention before. And in case, as I mentioned, you might have a situation where there will be objects without that the user doesn't have a read access to them. So in this case, such objects will be grouped under status unknown row. Yeah, I briefly mentioned that. I will also show it during the demo. So you can, there is a predefined in configuration, there is a predefined set of statuses that we do show on the statistics tab. In case there is, you will have items that are returned for the translation items tab. And these items will have status that is not mentioned in the configuration. Then these statuses will be shown in brackets, but only for non-zero values. Let's move to the demo. So under the content main navigation tab, there is a sub-tab translation job. Translation jobs where you can create a new translation job by clicking the add new translation job button. So let's do that. So you will see the wizard with 4 steps that I mentioned before. On the first step, you need to define a set of fields, and as I mentioned, this set of fields is will be stored on the translation job item, while these are defined for target languages. So let's specify some values. As I mentioned before, you cannot specify a date from the past because required date should be from the future. Yeah, you can use translation comments. Customers use for various reasons, for example, by specifying a project ID. As I mentioned, there is a new possibility to specify an object types that can be that can limit a source items that can be added to translation job. So as I also mentioned, if image is selected, you need to specify a resolution. If I don't select the image, you can see that resolution selection is not required. So let's maybe yeah, and select the library topic, specify a resolution, and we can use this option as I explained you. This option can be used for a situation when item is shared across different publications, and in your specific case, you need to translate these items earlier than it will be translated as part of another translation job for another publication. There is a list of source languages. If you will, so you might have situation when you don't have available templates for your source language. When you have the list of templates and you can select them. So then the language workflow combinations will appear, and yeah, I will. So I do have two groups: European languages and the duplicate variant, just for demo purposes. And as I mentioned, languages that will not land under any group will be displayed at the bottom under the non-group. So you can select specify workflow for all languages by using the select all option, or you also can specify a workflow per separate language group. You also can, as you can see, it is applied for all languages, and since this DE and French, they are also used in other language group, they also applied this value there as well. You can use a revert button to use the previous value. You can also specify a workflow for a specific language as well, of course. And as you can see, once I'm selecting it, and if it is shared across different groups, it will be also selected in another group. So this fourth step is a confirmation one. It shows you all the values that you did specify. So we can click Save. As you can see, you see confirmation message saying that the translation job was successfully created, and the translation job is pre-selected and displayed in the list. So let's talk also about let's talk about the settings. So about group languages. So I will explain you settings part by part, so it will be easier to understand. So under settings, XML settings, translation jobs, there is a new configuration setting. So as you can see, let's focus now on the language groups. So I do have two language groups, Europe and Asian Pacific, and the duplicate. I don't have languages that are returned as part of the language flow combination that is coming from external translation management system. As a result of that, this language group is not displayed during the selection. But if I would have, for example, a Japanese language defined on the translation management system, it would be then synchronized as part of synchronization process, and then I will see also this Asian Pacific language group during my creation or editing process of a translation job. So customers can use this configuration option. It's also translatable, so they can use the file system XML dialogues file and define the string resources and translate them. So then there will be then these groups will be nicely translated to other languages. So moving on, we did try the creation from the list. Let's also try the creation from the So we did it try from a translation job view. Let's also try it from the structured content view. So let's navigate here. So as I mentioned, you can use the prepare translation job action for single selection, or you can use it for multiple selection. So if I will choose to add selected items to existing translation jobs, and I will see a list of translation jobs that are available. So yeah, let's choose this one for now. Once I will click done, then you'll see a notification message saying that is successfully finished, and I can click on that button as part of that toast message, and we will immediately navigate you to translation job, and you will see the view of translation job. But for now, let's park that and try the create option. So let's select these two publications and use the create new translation job. So it's the same wizard. The only difference you'll see during the force confirmation step that I will show you once I will navigate to that. So let's specify the values. So I'm specifying all the object types. I need to specify resolution because I did select an image. I'm including items from another translation job and into this one. Yeah, I need to select the source language. Let's choose this one. Let's use the default. So as you can see, the difference is that you can see a list of selected source items that I did select, and you can either save or save and send to translation immediately. And of course, I did mention it before, so you can navigate back and change something, and your previous selection will be preserved for you. So let's save and start the translation. So again, you see the notification message, and you can click on that and navigate to this view. For now, let's leave it and give it a bit of time to translate the items. So let's navigate back to the list. As you can see in the definition that I mentioned, you don't have the progress for the translation jobs that are in translation or completed. You will see the progress bar, and if it's still expanding, then you will see calculating. So let's just do some. Let's take a look on the filtering options. So we can filter by any value that is available in the list. So type something like demo, and it will filter information for you. You can filter by the columns values as well, by the status, just to see, for example, completed ones. And also what will be useful, you can also filter by the target languages and the user who did send out the translation job for translation. You also can use sorting capability by different columns and filter it ascending or descending. While our translation job is still translating, let's try the editing that I did explain during the presentation part. So there is a panel on the right with three panels that do correspond to separate slides of the wizard. So the general object type properties and the language properties. So let's update the value. As I mentioned, once you are updating the value, you need to save your changes as part of this panel. Yeah, let's maybe, I don't know, exclude image, for example, as well. So if you will change the language, you will need to save your translation job accordingly. So let's navigate to the translation job. So as part of the view of translation job, you see the metadata of translation job. You see three subtabs. We will cover statistics and translation objects a bit later. So let's now focus on the edit source items. So here you can, we already added some publications to it, so we can try to remove. So you can remove one. You can also remove multiple, but to be able to remove multiple, let's add at least something. So if you do remember, there is constraints that we set on the translation job, and these constraints can be seen in this dialog. So you can add map binary topic and publication to this translation job. So if I will try to, for example, add library topic, it will not be allowed, but we still can add publications, for example. So you will see a notification message, and here as well, it will be you will be notified that items were added as source object to the translation job. And yeah, let's remove a couple of them. So you can see you can also remove multiple. Let's take a look what is the. So by this time we see that the second translation that we did create from the structure content view was already completed. So let's take a look on that, and also cover the statistics and translation objects subtab. So let's start with translation objects. So previously, a review process of the translations required for customers to use inboxes for that purposes mainly, where they were able to filter object types by certain comment field or other fields, and then to be able to update the status, either move to released or translation accepted or rejected. So now they will be able to do all this as part of the translation job directly. So as I mentioned, you have possibility to filter by an object type or by translation language. So if you, for example, did specify multiple translation languages and want to currently process only one of them, so you can filter that language and then do a review of your translations. I already mentioned that, but it was to mention again. There might be situations where customers have quite a lot of items as part of the translation job, even like thousands. So to avoid extra load on the server, we are not loading this list immediately. So you need to specify filtering options before you will do that. So yeah, let's click on the show list button. As you can see, target languages are loaded for different languages that we did translate to. Yeah, we can filter some of them, and you can select couple of objects and use this possibility to move target objects to another status. So either release, in my case, on translation rejected. So it makes sense now to switch to the settings and explain you how this list of statuses is organized and populated. So there is a separate two separate groups, um, transition element with a list of transition groups, and the group transitions. So in transition group, you specify a list of possible status transitions that can be that is valid for your case. As you can see, I do have only one that is a common one, and there are a list of 3 possible status transitions that can be applied to the um, object. And then this transition group is used in transition element, and I do specify a separate object types and assign or map that object type to a defined transition group. This is the way how it is defined. So what I can do, I can to release status and click on the button. And as you can see, they are updated, but we also show a notification that the list is not refreshed automatically. This is done again due to the fact that we are trying to avoid load additional load on the server, because this list might be quite big. So you need to refresh list manually to be able to see the statuses were updated. So as you can see there, they are released. Let's take a look on the statistics tab as well. So as you can see, statistics is grouped by languages and by the object types. There is a count of object types and what is the current percentage of that percentage of the items has a certain status. So let's get back to the translation jobs view, and let's take a look on the actions that are available on the translation jobs. So as I mentioned before, there is an event action that is available only for translation jobs that are in running state. So for example, this one is in definition, and I cannot open the event details for that, but I can use event details for this one. So once I click that, I will navigate into the event action details page, and it displays information that is required for the user. Once you navigate back, we are navigating you to the list of events, and this one will be preselected. So let's move to the translation list. You can start translation. if you will have a situation where you did select a translation job that is not allowed to be that is not allowed for this section, then you will see notification message indicating that, and then you can confirm if you want to start translation, and then only eligible translation job will be sent for translation. Let's also take a look on the cancel action. So you can also cancel translation job. And of course, you can delete translation jobs. Oh, by mistake, I did select more than 2. So you can see translation jobs were deleted. Translation report improvements. So we added a new field that is a part of a document object that is referencing the translation job. This field allows you to easily navigate from a document object to the corresponding translation job. For example, if you you can see that on the translation report when you're trying to pinpoint some problematic entries that you need to finalize before you're going to complete your publication. So there is a process. It's also valid to mention that there is a process of cleaning up translation job that by default is happening each 90 days. Yeah, for completed translation job. So in case translation job was cleaned up by the cleanup process or it was removed manually by someone, this value will be cleared, so it will not reserved. Yeah, the value for this field is set when translation job is sent to translation management system. So when we are reaching status, when translation job is reaching status in translation, and in case you roll back the translation job, for example, canceling that one, then this the value. So as a result of that action, then the translation job is moved. As a result of that action, the target objects are moved to be translated status. Then this field will be cleared. So as I said, this field is available and shown on the translation report. Under the hood, we are using metadata configuration file for that. When you will use the export to CSV to download the metadata of translation report, then this the value, so the name of translation job will also be present there. And if you are clicking on that value, so it is clickable, navigatable, then we will show you translation job details. So navigate to the details of translation job in the new tab. Let's continue with regional date format. All the customers will benefit from this improvement, but it's valid to say that a lot of US customers were complaining and asking to support that feature because the default date format that we were using with day, months, year was confusing for them because they are using months, day, year format. Then we did introduce the regional setting for user as part of the user preferences, and it can be set in both organized space and collective spaces, and it is respected in both. So yes, as mentioned, it is available in both collective spaces and organized space. In organized space, once you are changing this region, it will reload UI automatically immediately. In collective spaces, you will see notification. So then that will ask user to reload the browser tab. They do display regions in the language of the region, a format that we are using. So it is displayed in the tooltip, as you can see here. So and you're hovering over the format, then it is shown. It shows you the way how it will be displayed. It is similar to what access management application manager is using. It is done to align the experience of the user so that it will be similar in all applications that is available as part of the Tridion Docs offering. The default region, if it was not changed by the user, if not set previously, it is English United States. As I said, it is stored in the user preferences, and if you're changing it in organized space, this will be also reflected and displayed in the same way in collective spaces and vice versa. And yeah, for documentation history, because this date format is used across organized space and across collective spaces, it's also valid to mention regarding the document history, it's still a fixed format using explicit months naming instead of numbering like April, for example, to avoid confusion. This is an example. So date format is shown in the property panel, in the lists, in the filtering options. You will see more during the demo. Show optional field settings. Show in general, show optional field settings allow you to see all the metadata fields that are configured for a selected object. Some customers have a process in place where they treat some of the optional fields and the mandatory, so they should be set. And also there is a feature in the product that allows you to specify some optional fields as a mandatory, and you can use metadata configuration file for that, but it's a single source place, so it is applied for entire system, while there are cases, I mean, there are customers where they do have different departments, and these departments use different set of optional fields. So this is not the case. This solution with metadata file will not work for them, and the possibility to preserve value for show optional fields per user via user preferences will address their need. Yeah, you will see. So it will be. You can see this option in properties when you are creating new objects, when you are creating new version or new language or new branch, and it is shared across organized space and collective spaces. If you're updated in one of the applications, and it will be also used and respected in another one. Let's also talk about the preview. So as part of the updating the preview feature, we use some modern React front-end framework instead of the legacy ASP.NET one, as well as we also provide more user-friendly and consistent behavior across organized space and collective spaces with a better performance. So in general, preview allows users to view document objects from different locations, like structured content, revision history, object details, inboxes, search results, and where used. It does support not only a version preview, but also a revision preview from the revision history. Preview supports all document types, and for XML content, formatted rendering is provided. For other MIME types, preview is using the browser native capabilities. So compare is using the preview under the hood, and you can compare objects of XML electronic document types while previewing them. You can compare versions and revisions. We are using the numbering for revisions in the same way as they are displayed in the revision history panel. We did some improvements in this area, and I will cover it a bit later. Once comparison is done, it is shown whether the documents are identical or different, and any changes between compared versions or revisions will be shown in the preview. So this is just an example how it will be displayed. We'll cover it during the presentation, the demo part. So you also can scale images. You can decrease or increase the scale. There are predefined set of scale options that you can use. There is a limitation or limitation that is dictated by security constraints, that SVG images cannot be scaled, so it is not allowed. Images can be scaled only if you did preview for them directly. Images that are referenced in the topic or other XML objects, they cannot be scaled. This is nice pictures how scale is working, but we'll take a look on that during the demo part. When you are previewing electronic document type that are neither image except SVG nor XML document, that we will show you the electronic document type value as part of the preview. So how we are handling links as part of the preview. External links are opened in a new tab. Internal links are opened in the same preview dialog. And you can navigate back using the back button for that. And the internal link that is points to a specific element inside an object then the view is scrolled to that element. And let's also cover other improvements in organized space. So there was a specific, there was an behavior when we have when in publication output, when you are loading publication outputs, and that for one of the publication outputs, language combination was not available because one of the languages doesn't exist anymore or was renamed, although we do not recommend to do like that. Then this publication output was retrieving the list of publication output was failing. And in 15.2 we improved that behavior. Now we do display the label invalid and the label of the old language. So then user will clearly see that there is a certain issue. So and we also do not fail the load. We also did rename out of the box translator label. So now we are using the translation coordinator and metadata configuration file for that resource. There were some small improvements in search panel. So now it is resizable. You can reset the search criteria and so you can set them to the default one. Apply button was renamed. Now it is called search to clearly identify the action that it will do. And if the search criteria didn't change, the apply button will not be enabled. And also when you did perform a search, you have a search list. Once you will click refresh button, it will also trigger once more the search with using the same search criteria. So it can be useful in case of you are expecting some updates or some new items that should appear, then it will be useful in this case. So there is a new field that allows you to specify a maximum number of items that will be returned. So in previous versions, we were showing, displaying or returning the always maximum 1000 items, and the user was able to export entire list and do whatever they want with that information. Now you have a possibility to specify a maximum number of items that you want to return. There are predefined set of values with 25,000 as a max one, but if you have more results returned, you still can export these values and use for your needs. We also, as part of the preview, can compare changes. We also improved user experience for revisions. There is a specific behavior. So because when you are updating the content, the new revision ID identifier is created, so the new revision entry is created, while if status is changed, we are using the same revision identifier, but in the revision panel they were displayed as separate entries. It was creating a confusion. Now we are grouping such entries, and status updates are grouped to one revision number. We also made outline for reports flatted. So for all reports for flow, translation, and publication reports, export, download, and data move to the action bar, and the possibility to sort was also added. Why it was done like that? If you do remember, previously we were showing the objects as part in context of report as an outline, and this was confusing because the statistics part was not corresponding to the numbers that you will see in the this outline part, because you might reference the same item multiple times, and then this was creating confusion as well when you were exporting items. You were exported as removing the duplication, so this also was creating a confusion. Now we made it consistent. And we also added possibility to open reports in a new tab. So previously when you were clicking generate, it was using the current one. Now you have an option either generate report in the context of current browser tab or open the new one. So let's do the demo. Okay, so let's first start with translation report. So let's navigate to application. Translation report. So as you can see, there is an option to generate a translation report in a separate tab on the current one. So let's just use this new option. Your translation report is being generated. Oh, I didn't translate this one. But anyway, we can take a look on the report objects. So there is a flat list of objects. And now it's not an outline anymore. This is done to align the numbers between report objects and the statistics part, and as well as when you're exporting items, also to have it consistent. So let's, if I'm not mistaken, to have something here. Again, let's use separate tab. Here, as you can see, I have this new field as part of the translation report that has a link to translation job, so I can click and quickly navigate to the translation job and see the details of the translation job, and maybe move target objects to separate status if I need, or disidentify some useful information that is required for me. So let's take a look on the probably date format first. So as I said, the default date format is set to English United States, and when you are hovering over the regions that you want to select, you will see in the tooltip the way how it will be displayed. So if I use this one, then UI will automatically reload the tab, and then the value will be applied, and these values you can see in the list. You can also see it in the property panel, Of course, you can see it in the filtering options, and when you will be creating items as well, and translation jobs in the list as well. And yeah, let's open also, sorry, draft space. So as I mentioned, this setting is shared across organized space and draft space. So let's open draft space and see that it's also respected there. Again, we will need to wait for the warm up of the server for some of the services. Tester. Okay, so it's loading. Yeah, so we can open the user preferences and see that this regional date format is also selected, and in properties you can also see that it is used there as well. And if I will change that something else from draft space, as you can see, notification message is shown saying that you need to reload your browser tab to be able to apply the value. So let's reload and just double check that the value is applied and used with it. So it's the way how numbers are dates and time is displayed in Ukrainian region. Let's also reload the organize space and see that it is also respected here as well as in the list. Let's also take a look on the show optional fields. I already did turned it on. By default it is off, just to show you the dates. So as you can see, yeah, let's maybe disable that, and then let's try to create a new publication, for example. So as you can see, the value is respected here, and it is disabled. If I will enable that, it will be stored, and we also can double check that in the draft space, so it is also respected there as well in collective spaces. I need to refresh the application because this value is read once you're starting the application. So you can open the properties and see this value is respected, and so once you're set this value in one of the applications, then it will be respected and used in another one. So let's take a look on preview part. So let's start from the map. So internal links there are navigated and previewed in context of the preview window. So we can navigate to this one and see that the image is nicely previewed. You can also use a back button, navigate back, navigate to this link. There are 4 links. So let's use this one. You can see a preview and the image. This image doesn't have a preview resolution. As a result, the preview for it is not displayed. So we can use the compare feature, and we will see that in second version of the topic, some text was added. Again, we can use a back button. We can use, so this is an external link. We will navigate to external link in a separate tab, and this is document to preview as also external link. Let's also take a look on the preview of revisions. So as I mentioned, now we are grouping status updates in context of one revision. So as you can see, for this topic, for the third revision, I have 2 status updates, and they are grouped together. So I can preview that, and I also can compare revisions. And they are displayed in this dropdown in the same way as they are displayed in the panel. So as you can see, some text was replaced, so nicely displayed. Let's also take a look on binaries. So this is a text that previewed, not an XML or image. So you can see that we do display the chronicle type and the MIME type of the document. And yeah, for PDF as well, we're using the browser capabilities to display, to build this preview. And let's also take a look on image. So this image doesn't have a preview resolution. So I need to navigate, select, and preview from this view. So this is, as you can see, this is SVG image. So I cannot scale that. As I explained, due to security reasons. And yeah, there is an image that have a preview resolution set to low, but I also can navigate to it and preview another one. And yeah, of course, use scaling options that are available. Let's also take a look on search improvements. Let's search something. So as you can see, search apply button is now renamed to search to clearly identify the action that will be performed. There is also improvement regarding the tooltips for not advanced options. So also something that was added. You also can resize the search panel, not only collapse and expand, but also resize. You can also, by refreshing the list, you can, we are sending again the search request, and in case there are new items that might be created or might be created in between of previous search and current ones, that they will appear in your list. As you can see, by default, the maximum number is still 1000, but you can specify a value that is greater than that or less. So let's use 5000. Yeah, we will need to wait for it to return. Yeah, so this, you can see 5,000 is returned, but you, of course, you can also export all the search results and perform whatever actions you need on them. So let's talk about community ideas that was incorporated into the current Tridion Docs 15.2 in context of organized space. We, as always, we do value and input from our customers, and we do incorporate it into our solutions, including Tridion Docs. We read review and add your ideas posted on our community portal into the product. So let's mention ideas that were included into organized space. So for events, we improved user experience for multiple delete action and also gave granular control for customers regarding access to events view. So as you saw, the regular user will be able to see them this view and events that was created by him or her. We also added configurable language groups for translation job feature that I demoed today. For 15.2 customers, they can select now object types that they want to translate as part of the translation job, so they can limit the set of source items that will be selected. For example, they can exclude image if they want, if they don't want to translate images as part of their publication translation process. As well as we are displaying the target languages for the translation job as part of the list view for the translation job, because previously customers were using different foregrounds. For example, we were adding these target languages to the title of the translation job. So there is a quick navigation option for source items. So as you saw, you can, as part of the translation job view, you can click on the source item and we will navigate you to the details of that source item. Translation review process was slightly improved and actions on the target objects can be performed now directly from translation job instead of using inboxes, for example. We also enhanced permissions for user with translation management privilege, and now user with translation management privilege will be able to delete translation job in definition state. We are displaying datetime format based on the user's regional settings that is available in both organized space and collective spaces. And we also storing the value for show optional fields setting. And this option is possible to change in both organized space and collective spaces, and it also respected in both. So we would like to say thank you to our community for such great improvements. And we encourage you to continue contribution, as well as thank you all for everyone who is encouraging customers to post ideas on our community portal. Please continue to do so, because this brings benefits to the product, makes it better, and makes our customers happy. So thank you all, and this concludes our today's bootcamp. Thank you.